Welcome everyone to Things Around 8. Dear friends, in this video we will talk about the various threats made by Erdogan, President of Turkey, who said he was ready to send troops to the Gaza Strip and invade Israel. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any news. In 2006, Hamas, led by Ismail Haniyeh, won the legislative election in the Palestinian territories, but Mahmoud Abbas Fatah contested the results, starting a long period of serious tensions that culminated in the Palestinian Civil War of 2007, a war that marked the distancing of Hamas, which came to completely dominate the Gaza Strip, and Fatah, which maintained its control over the West Bank. And it was precisely at this time of internal division among the Palestinians that Turkey began to get closer to Hamas. At the time, Recep Tayyip Erdogan was the Prime Minister of Turkey, but he exerted a strong influence over the Turkish President, Ahmet Necdet Sezer, with several sources suggesting that it was all of Erdogan's influence that led Turkey to begin the rapprochement with Hamas. A rapprochement that deepened even further from August 2014, when Erdogan became president of the country. The main motivation for this rapprochement is, of course, religious, with both Turks and Palestinians being Sunni Muslims. But there is also another very strong motivation, which is Erdogan's well-known antipathy towards the State of Israel. As we know, Hamas' constitution prohibits peace talks with Israel. The group has made it very clear that its objective is not the creation of two states in the region, but only a single Islamic caliphate, something that can only be achieved through the complete destruction of the State of Israel. With this extremist and violent position of Hamas, it also counts heavily to attract Erdogan's favor. And so, when Israel defended itself against the Hamas terrorist attack on October 7, which left more than 1,200 civilians dead and 250 kidnapped, Erdogan was one of the first to strongly criticize Israel. Criticism quickly escalated into serious verbal attacks, with Erdogan classifying Israel as a terrorist state and comparing Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to Adolf Hitler on several occasions. All of this led to the almost complete severing of relations between Turkey and Israel, both diplomatically and commercially and economically. And recently, at the end of July, Erdogan took an extra step in his aggressive rhetoric, saying that just as Turkish troops entered Libya and Karabakh, they could do the same in Israel. Erdogan was referring to the presence of Turkish troops in the UN peacekeeping mission in Libya and the strong support Turkey has given to Azerbaijan in the war against Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh. But is Erdogan's threat of invasion really real? Or is it just populist rhetoric to please his voter base? Erdogan is what is commonly called a political animal, with a career that began in 1976, when he was just 22 years old, and which led to his first major victory in 1994, when he was elected mayor of Istanbul. In 2001, he joined the Justice and Development Party, better known simply as the AK Party. A party with a strong religious populist component and powerful elements of a movement known as Neo-Ottomanism, which advocates Turkish expansionism and increased influence over its neighbors, especially Lebanon and Syria. And it is precisely in Syria where Erdogan is flexing his Turkish military muscle, with Turkey invading northern Syria in August 2016, aiming to combat Kurdish forces in the region. The Kurds, with an estimated population of around 40 million people, represent the largest stateless ethnic group in the world. With this population spread, for the most part, across Iran, Iraq, Syria and Turkey, and it was precisely to combat some Kurdish armed groups, such as the SDF, that Erdogan invaded northern Syria. With this invasion expanding even further in 2019, with a major offensive that resulted in the capture of 5,000 square kilometers of Syrian territory. An offensive that had the support of forces from the so-called Syrian National Army, which fights against the dictatorship of Bashar al-Assad. This means that today Turkey is invading an Islamic country, joining forces with local rebels to massacre the Kurds and to overthrow a dictator who has the full support of Iran and especially Vladimir Putin's Russia, to the point that Putin maintains an estimated 3,500 Russian troops in Syria. Therefore, as we can see, when Erdogan accuses Israel of invading Arab lands, it is nothing more than pure rhetoric, since he himself has been attacking and invading an Arab country since 2016 to massacre the Kurds, who, it is worth remembering, are Sunni Muslims, just like the Turks and the Palestinian terrorists of Hamas. All of this reinforces the thesis that Erdogan's threats are nothing more than populist rhetoric to please the most extremist bases of his party. Especially because he knows perfectly well that if he sends troops to the Gaza Strip, or if he actually tries to invade Israel, he will have to face not only Israeli forces directly, but also strong pressure from the United States and NATO, the alliance to which Turkey has belonged since 1952, with Erdogan bogged down in northern Syria since 2016, in a war that has already cost him thousands of military casualties. The prospect of opening a new front against Israel, clashing head-on with the United States and NATO? This is something that Erdogan, being the political animal that he is, knows very well that it is not the best move at this time. But that, obviously, does not stop him from saying what his voters want to hear, pleasing them and guaranteeing a few more votes in the next elections. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any news.